They tried to kill it on live television, and it refused to die. In 1968, Toyota engineers sat in a room facing an impossible task. Build a truck for markets they didn't understand, for terrain they'd never seen, for people who would push machinery beyond every reasonable limit. The Americans had their F-150, born from decades of understanding vast highways and heavy loads. The Japanese, they had fishing boats and rice fields, small vehicles for small islands. But Toyota had studied something else: failure. They'd sent teams into the Australian outback, where temperatures swung 50 degrees between day and night. The Afghan mountains, where roads were suggestions carved into cliffs. The Sahara, where sand found its way into everything. Not to sell trucks, to watch them break, every crack in a chassis, every seized engine, every stripped gear, every failure was documented, photographed, analyzed, sent back to Japan in detailed reports that filled filing cabinets. The first Hilux rolled off the line weighing barely 2 tons, a 1.5-liter engine producing 77 horsepower. On paper, it was laughable, the kind of specifications that made American dealers shake their heads. On the road, it was something different. The frame was overbuilt, not for power, for punishment. Steel thicker than it needed to be, welds reinforced at every stress point. The suspension used a leaf spring setup that dated back decades. Primitive, unsophisticated, the kind of technology other manufacturers were abandoning. Unbreakable. Toyota made a decision that would define the Hilux forever. They chose reliability over innovation. While American trucks added power windows and chrome, Toyota added a second fuel filter. While Europeans focused on comfort, Toyota reinforced the differential, added skid plates, simplified the electrical system. The Hilux wasn't designed to impress. It was designed to survive. The Soviet Union invades Afghanistan. Within months, something strange appears in intelligence photographs. Hilux pickups, dozens of them, then hundreds, moving weapons through mountain passes where roads didn't exist, climbing elevations that stopped Soviet military vehicles. The Mujahideen had found their weapon. The Hilux became the vehicle of revolution, not because of politics, because it started every morning, in temperatures that froze diesel fuel, on gasoline cut with kerosene, after being abandoned for weeks and buried in dust. Chad, Libya, Somalia, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen. Everywhere conflict touched, the Hilux followed, mounted with machine guns, packed with supplies, driven until the fuel ran out, then pushed to the next village, repaired with wire and hammers, kept running with parts scavenged from other Hiluxes. Toyota never advertised this. They didn't have to. The trucks were advertising themselves. BBC's Top Gear decides to kill one. They choose a red 1986 Hilux diesel, 190,000 miles already on the odometer. Used, worn, perfect. They drive it downstairs, drown it in the ocean for 5 hours, tow it out, drop a caravan on it, set it on fire, place it on top of a building and demolish the building beneath it. After every test, they try to start it. And it starts. Sometimes immediately, sometimes after minor repairs, a new battery, cleaning the carburetor. But it starts. The episode becomes legend, not because it's entertaining, because it's true. Every torture test is real. No safety nets, no backup trucks, one Hilux, one mission. When they finally place it on a plinth at the Top Gear studio, it's still running. The engine idles, rough, damaged, but alive. But the secret wasn't magic, it was philosophy. Toyota had implemented something called the Toyota Production System, continuous improvement, elimination of waste. But beneath the corporate language was something simpler. Build it right, test it forever, fix what breaks. The Hilux engine, the 22R, later the 3L diesel, wasn't cutting edge. It was bulletproof, cast iron blocks, forged steel crankshafts, components that weighed more than they needed to because heavy meant durable. Tolerances were loose enough to handle dirty fuel, dust, sand, ice. The engine could lose compression and still run, could burn oil and still deliver power. Components were designed to be serviced with basic tools: a wrench, a hammer, a screwdriver, nothing more. No computers, no sensors that failed in extreme heat, no electronics that corroded in humidity. In the places where the Hilux thrived, there were no dealerships, no certified mechanics, no diagnostic equipment, just people who needed to keep moving, and the Hilux let them. By the 1990s, the Hilux had become currency. In parts of Africa and the Middle East, aid organizations bought them in bulk. The United Nations, the Red Cross, Médecins Sans Frontières. Not because of brand loyalty, because they calculated cost per kilometer over 10 years, factored in maintenance, factored in downtime, and nothing came close. A Hilux could reach a village when helicopters couldn't fly, could carry a ton of medical supplies over terrain that didn't appear on maps, could run for 500,000 kilometers if you changed the oil. Mechanics in remote areas learned to rebuild them blindfolded. Every part had a purpose. Every system made sense. Toyota, meanwhile, kept improving what didn't need improvement. The 2005 redesign added more power. A 3.0-liter diesel with 163 horsepower, better suspension, modern safety features, anti-lock brakes, airbags, creature comforts for markets that wanted them. Underneath, the philosophy remained unchanged. Overbuilt frame, simple mechanics, ladder chassis that could flex without cracking, designed for abuse. In Australia, it became the best-selling vehicle for over a decade. Not the best-selling truck, the best-selling vehicle, outselling sedans, SUVs, everything. Farmers in the Northern Territory would run them for 20 years. 800,000 kilometers. Original engine, original transmission, just maintenance, oil changes, brake pads, tires. The Hilux had proven something uncomfortable for the automotive industry. You didn't need innovation every year. You didn't need the latest technology. You needed a truck that started every morning for 20 years. That didn't strand you 200 kilometers from the nearest town, that your children could inherit and keep driving. Today, the Hilux is sold in over 180 countries. More than 18 million have been built. It's the vehicle of choice for everyone from farmers to rebels to aid workers to families. families. You'll find them in the Arctic Circle and on the equator, in deserts and rainforests, on highways and in places where highways are a distant dream. Toyota never marketed it as indestructible. They didn't have to. The Hilux built its reputation one brutal mile at a time, in deserts and jungles and war zones and farms, driven by people who couldn't afford for it to fail, people whose lives depended on it starting. And it didn't fail. That's not marketing. That's engineering. That's philosophy. That's what happens when you build something not to impress, but to endure, not to win awards, but to survive. The Toyota Hilux. Still running, still proving that the best technology isn't always the newest. Sometimes, it's just the one that refuses to quit, the one that does the job, every single day, without complaint, without failure, the one that becomes part of the landscape, part of history, part of survival itself.